All right, we are here live and kicking. Both Kitty and I here. You all know that when Kitty and I get together, it's because we're having fun. Let me move all the stuff that's behind me so it doesn't look so cluttered up here. Anyway, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Thursday. Today is Thursday on April 13th.
April
Yeah,
13th.
I had to
Yes.
think about that. April 13th, 2023. Super excited to be here. Why is my thing not showing up? Oh, I love when things don't show up. Where are ya? Show. Come. There we go. Perfect. So yeah, so Kitty, let everybody know who you are, what you do, and what we're gonna be doing today. And as you do that, I'm just gonna see that we are streaming where we need to be.
I'm Kitty Budewig Foss. I am the co-founder of Intuition of the Soul, which is a free private Facebook group where we have a program tonight, Joanne,
Yes, we
um,
do.
uh, where we have different speakers come on, and it's a place that you can learn about spirituality. It's set up just to be that a safe place to explore and have information. I myself am uh, a storytelling astrologist. I read the story of the energy of your chart and talk to you about kind of the choices you came in with and what the story is and how it's of the hero's journey astrology. So, how to be a hero in your own life, the hero of your own story by knowing the energy. And today, of course, is a fascinating day because on the 11th, Venus moved into Gemini, and we are just in an incredible period of time astrologically, energetically. um, it is pretty amazing, actually. So,
Yes. And we are streaming. So for everyone who is watching from Twitter, hello and welcome. Those who are watching from YouTube, hello and welcome. And we are going to land where we usually land in Facebook land. And I'm going to be able to see everyone's comments. Are we landing in Facebook land? I'm like, are we landing? There we go. There we go. We are there, landing in Facebook land. So I'm excited to be here and excited to play with Kitty in regards to all this amazing energy. And as Kitty mentioned, she does have an amazing Zoom event going on tonight. If you want to talk a little bit about that, you can.
sure. On Intuition of the Soul, and by the way, we have a library on YouTube under Intuition of the Soul. All of this is free, including our friend here, Joanne, who different speakers who have come on to do different programs about spirituality, their own awakening, the gifts that they have, different energy that they use, different everything from seashells to warlocks to we've had over 30. I think this is our 33rd speaker that we've had in the two
33, huh?
years. Huh? Yeah, there's
33,
been,
huh?
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's either 32nd or 33rd speaker. And they come on once a month and talk about what their awakening is. So tonight is Transform with Teresa, who is a life coach, but she's also gone through, this will be right up Joanne's alley, a personal physical transformation, having been a person who has um, had to been aware of her weight, and as she worked through her spiritual awakening, as Joanne often talks about, her body really reset. And so this is part of her life coaching piece that she does, Transform with Tisha. So she's on tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So
Yes.
last, let's see, last month, um, or next month, we have Deborah coming on to do her color correction. But it's an interesting library. Check it out. There's hours and hours of people that have volunteered. They tell you their awakening story. They also talk about many of the services or gifts that they've been given and some of the amazing stories that in this spiritual awakening, which is happening more and more and more. And it's going to be an interesting time with this Venus and Gemini. Great segue here, because when Venus is in Gemini, Venus is chatty, Venus is happy, Venus is trying to get information. It's very experiential. It's a good time to have conversations that at other times might be a little bit heavier because Venus is light and able to see the beauty in its conversations, and it tends to stay more on a lighter note. It can be gossipy, it can be a few of those other things because it is chatty, but it's an easier time to speak, and it's in Gemini until May 7th. So it is right through this eclipse that's coming. So it's a great time to be able to hear and talk about some of this spiritual awakening, and it will be heard differently than perhaps it was when it moved through Taurus, which wants proof and practicality. This is not that time. So this is a great time to introduce different ideas into your awareness.
I love that. And it's so perfectly aligned. And I know, unfortunately, that Kitty, you missed our Miracles and Mystical Medicine Psychic Club last night. And our amazing featured speaker, one of the things that he actually spoke about, and also spoke about today, because he's got a live thing going on as well, in regards to when you talk about the chatter that people tend to do in regards to talking about our stories and whatever not, that we get a choice to make a decision on, do we need to share that chatter, and how does that chatter really help us in the current desire that we are actually looking to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
And if we really can pay attention, bring the awareness into that situation, we can then start asking ourselves, is what it is that I'm talking about right now, or that I'm even paying attention to, other people's stories, does this really serve my desire? And if it doesn't serve our desire, we have a choice that we can not talk about it. We can shut it down. We can transform it and think about something else. And even for that matter, as Kitty's saying about this Venus and Gemini, where we have this opportunity to have those conversations where maybe we would not have wanted to have those conversations earlier at a different time. This could be a time to start asking yourself, do I really want all these different people in my lives that all they do is a bunch of how is that really serving us?
Right. It is very important time for this, because we're in kind of a heightened manifestation time. And we're not kind of, we are. And we're really, our soul's goals are very much stepping forth and looking for people as a person that really believes in the 4 agreements, being impeccable with your word. Do I want to participate in this energy? Is this the space I'm holding? This is where is this the exchange of energy that I want? Because to manifest, there is an impeccability of understanding what we have to say. So if you're hanging around with people who talk about how awful it is and how angry it is and all of those things, that's the world that's being created. It's not to deny that there aren't sparks everywhere that are happening and people not understanding the energy or participating in it a different way. And because it's an and, not a but. And what are you doing in your life? Is that where you want to spend your time? Or is it thank you for there and on creating your own space, your own peace? An astrologer I follow, Pam Gregory, who's been around a long time, has also been talking about how we create our own bubble of peace. That's really important for the common attraction, laws of attraction of what we want mankind to be. And so it's not about denying, but it is about what space. Yes, that's true. And this is also true. What duality do we live in? So.
Yes. And again, we can definitely focus on everything that is going on around us and the energy of it, the heaviness of it. But then we get to decide and ask ourselves, is that really what I want to create in my own personal journey, personal journey? And we're only responsible for ourselves in this journey. Right. And we get to choose if for whatever the reasons are, that person chooses to want to focus on what's going on around them that might be heavy, then they have the right to do that. And you and I have the right to say, well, you know what? We really don't want to be around that energy because it doesn't serve our desire, and we have
Right.
that choice to do that too.
And it, there go my dogs. And
Yeah.
to accent the point, but it's not that people can't be in a crisis, but how you spend your words and your money when something is a challenge is also part of what's happening. Um, Happy to support, happy to listen, but then after a certain point, what is it you want to create? Oh, this has been brought into my awareness. What is it differently that I want to be able to do? So, um,
Yes.
and it's, you know, it's an interesting time because there is a lot of people. I don't use the word trigger because for me, the word trigger has a trigger.
Triggers
Um,
you. Yes, yes. I like your word. You use the word activation or activate because I remember you mentioning that in our last conversation. Yes.
So I use the word
Yes.
activate because activate is also, we talked about activations from spirit. There's a lot of heart chakra activation. And so in exchange, if I look at the word activate, I can also look at what is it activating for me to do, see, transform, and take care of. And and it is a reaction I have, a curiosity as to, why is this happening? Why am I activating? Why am I feeling I need to either step in or say something? And what's the highest and best possible ingo and outcome
Yes.
that, that comes out of this? Because if I'm being activated, and sometimes that's exactly when I need to walk away because there isn't anything I can draw at that moment. It doesn't mean within 30 seconds or sometimes taking that time out, but being very aware, using that discernment of what am I reacting to in this activation. Hi, Declan. I like
Yes.
that name.
Yes. Yes. I was just gonna say, and interesting enough, that was our featured
I
speaker from last night. Yes. So I'm so happy that he's here chatting
and
it
I'm
in with
so
us.
sorry
And
that I missed Declan yesterday. I teach a course and I had 2 sessions of the course yesterday and we didn't get out in time. So I am very sorry that I missed it because I would have loved to have that conversation, though I was probably having the same conversation in the astrological class at the
yes.
same time because this is the energy. We have arrived. We're very aware
Yes.
that something
Yes.
is very, very different.
Yes.
And that's part of the reaction we're seeing is, what do I label this? And what is this new vision we're being asked to, that we carry with us, especially those of us that are aware everywhere we're going now, we are helping people spark their own DNA because we're walking, our bodies are traveling in that other, we're working on our bodies traveling in those other dimensions with us versus I visit it and I come back. No, no, we've now opened this door and we're walking with it. And that's going to help.
Yes.
So I would have loved, and at some point, Declan, I'm sure we'll catch up. Um,
Oh yeah, and if you like, Kitty, just to give a little shout out to him, he's doing an amazing live. It's a 4 day live. You can catch him on Facebook. And I know yesterday was day one, today was day two, so I think there's 2 more days left. I think it takes place at 1 p.m. Eastern. So you can always check in on that. And if you're not doing anything tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time, you could definitely jump in and see what he's talking about. He's got amazing energy, and
maybe
I'm sure. What's that?
maybe he'd come on Intuition of the Soul and uh, come visit us and talk
Oh
about
yes,
his
no,
awakening.
yes, you definitely would love. I'm sure you would want to have him,
Yeah,
his
Declan, you
energy
may not
around.
have been on for that, but I run a group. Um, we're growing very steadily now. Uh, and one of the things we do is have people come. Oh, thank you, and talk about their awakening, what they do, and uh, because what Intuition of the Soul is about is people exploring, people figuring this out, a
Yes,
place to go that isn't always selling you something, you know, and or who pays the most in Google for their advertisement so it comes up. So you know, that
exactly.
is, as a matter of fact, I was searching something today and I found myself activated about the fact that what I was searching, there were so many Google crosswords that came up ahead of this, that I was like, that's not even close to my subject, but you paid a lot to be top of my search, huh? So, it's
Yes,
just a
yes.
piece
So
of that.
yeah, one can ask about that, right?
So, but this is
Exactly.
a
So yeah, so
but this is a light time to talk about some of those things, this Venus and Gemini. This is a time where you might find people more receptive, especially if you are using impeccability with your own words. If you are not participating in the gossipy, whatever, but more in the curiosity. Last week, I know Joanne knows this story, but last week I said, all right, so when we get into these activations and people are and I have very different opinions, I said, Spirit, what's something I can do because I get activated? And that's when the very next morning, the first thing I heard about was Walt Whitman and the quote, be curious, not judgmental, because that is
yes,
what gets in our way is our judgments. Because we've looked for a pattern and we've overapplied a pattern and it's what we know. And but that's only from our own paradigm. So I really like that. Be curious as
be
to
curious.
why
Yes,
something
yes,
is rather than judging it as
yes.
wrong or bad or all of those things.
Exactly. And even for me, in the last couple of, I'm going to say couple of days, probably last week, I've noticed that by me shifting even my thoughts just for a little bit in reference to using more higher vibrations, setting out those affirmations, that I'm actually attracting a different, and this is the best way I can explain it, a different type of person because I'm
Hmm.
using higher vibration energy. So I'm attracting, such as let's say Declan that's now in my circle, and other people that's in my circle. I'm attracting a different type of person that's more high vibration, and I hate to say it this way, but I'm going to that complain less. And to me, it's like, wow, I can actually have a conversation with somebody that's not going to sit here and complain about something. Wow, that's quite interesting. I'm like, wow, I'm not used to this, and it was like it was such an amazing experience to be in a conversation where there was no complaints. It was not like like oh God. It's like why is it oh God? So it was just nice and recognizing and I'm going to use Declan's expression, being in my awareness of what it is I am actually focused on in regards to my thoughts and recognizing that my thoughts has changed the different people that I'm associating with, which is lovely.
Well, and there's more awareness. There is an evolution that's happening in the physical body, in that DNA that is awakening a different level of awareness. And that's why I think I love what you told me that Declan had to say, because we are now carrying that portal with us in other people's DNA in their awareness. And so, um, which doesn't mean we're always going to be waking up people that are asking to be woken up. They'll know something's going on, and that's going to be, but more and more people are going to be seeking. We are receiving astrologically light from different parts of the galaxy that we've never received before. And when you have people like Pam Gregory and some astrologists have been around for a very long time saying the same thing that we're all saying is this isn't a game changer. This is a new game. This is not what we've been through before. This is not just about the cycle. It is an evolutionary cycle. And of course, um, just the fact that in a 3 years period of time, the outer planets, which are a lot of the energy that is coming to us, very galactic, very beyond, are all in the same kind of energy. And that hasn't happened for, we can't even find periods of time. So this really is an activation. This really is a change. And it's exciting, but that doesn't make it easy. This is this particular period of time with, and it's nice that Venus is in Gemini because we can really talk about it and kind of laugh more about it rather than it coming out of this very serious experience, communication, is really shaking us up. It's pushing us. It's asking, our soul is asking us to really, really step into the work that we signed up for in our soul contract. There are soul contracts we're moving out of right now. And we're able to, just this morning, I was watching Dolores Cannon talk about letting go of soul contracts in a way to just let them go, thank them. It didn't work out the way we can now be on, so there's just, it's such an interesting time, but this is there's a feeling of, we're on a track, and that's what we want to be, or prefer to be, looking at the fact that we are in motion, that we are already on the track and we are moving, and concentrating on the fact that we are moving, because it will feel at times with this perseverance about finding it that we're being derailed. But what it's showing us is what we need to let go of, which track we're switching to. So really concentrating on the momentum. That was another.
Yes, yeah, and I love the fact when we speak of Venus in Gemini, bringing the body into this, as Kitty was saying, that this is an opportunity for us to let go of certain contracts, soul's contracts. And a part of letting go of the soul's contracts, I'm not sure if everybody's aware of this, but the weight that we carry, meaning the body weight, the physical body weight that we carry, perhaps you've had a soul's contract with body weight, and this is a perfect time. You don't need to know why. This is a perfect time that you can make that decision, set that intention that this is what I want. I desire my body to look like, my body to feel like, how I feel in my body, the relationship that I do have with feeding and fueling, and cut the cord of the old contract of what your body was before. So Venus and Gemini, again, it's all about that conversation you want to have with yourself, and setting that intention, creating that vision to how you see your body, how you feel in your body, and what is it going to take for you to live out, to actually see it in your reality. What exact steps will you need to commit to? And that's the big word here, is to commit to, so you can fulfill this new contract with your actual body and be in a healthier body. And sometimes that's really all it takes, is that thought process, the intention, the vision, these specific steps that you know you are going to take, so you can commit to being in this new body and owning it and creating it into your reality. So Venus and Gemini, what a perfect opportunity that we all have to do this.
And today's a great day because Venus is trine the moon once it moves into Aquarius this afternoon at 4:42. So an exact hour from now. How about that?
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Exactly an hour from now. And when it's trine with this moon in Aquarius, which also means we're looking at the Pluto in Aquarius, there's a transformation that you can have about what you see beautiful, that's beauty, and stabilizes you, and all of the abundance that you have. And it starts with you accepting your body as it is and understanding, I already own the body I want. I'm just going to nurture it, and it will be showing up. I love when you say that, because I do know in my own journey with my body image, which is so much better, and I feel so much better than I have felt in many years, started with just accepting it. And it wasn't that I didn't care, it was I cared that I was all right just the way I was. And that has completely started to shift my body and led me to better practices for my body, what it feels like, not without a goal in mind other than how I feel about it and taking care of it. That's the biggest shift.
Exactly. And that's a huge part of it, because once we do get to that place in our mind of how we feel, we let go of the resistance. And the resistance is a part of the emotions that's literally that's showing up the physical process of the weight. So that's a big portion of it. It's not necessarily about, well, I have to go on a diet, I need to go on a calorie deficit, I have to track all the steps that I take in my day. It's not about that. It really is about what goes on up here, that mindset and that connection that you have with your body, and loving the body that you're in.
Well, and I look back at my own upbringing, and there, what we understand too is that we carry in our mitochondria, our DNA, the experiences of other generations. It may be, in my case, my father was in occupied Netherlands, and people were starving to death. He carried people that dropped dead in the streets into churches during that starvation winter in Amsterdam. My mother was born right as the stock market crashed, and um, she was a person that had to have lots of food. So food was a concentration for both of them. It lived in my father's DNA, and my mother had these habits. And so my relationship with food was very, very different than it is now. But becoming into that awareness has been, and that first part was just accepting the way it was, and people can say what. I always find it amusing when people will say, "Oh, so and so said this." What makes people? I am very curious to know what makes people think they can say things about people's weights and what they look like and all of those things. Like, wow, you know. And
Yeah,
as a matter
yeah.
of fact, my friends would always laugh because if somebody said something, not necessarily to me or to one of them in a group or whatever, and I would always just look at them and say, "Who asked you?" And that always seemed to stop them. Like, what? Like, who asked you? Feel free
Yeah,
not to share. I've said that to people too. Feel free not to share because
exactly.
I'm not
Exactly.
interested in listening. But you know, um, so but astrologically, this is an amazing time. I'm sure we'll be on next week before 420. Spirit
Oh
has
yeah.
such a wicked,
It's not
wicked,
on
wicked sense
420.
of humor
Oh, yeah, yes.
with numbers.
Yeah.
Um, but 420 is a very powerful day. It's a hybrid, which is less than 3% of all eclipses are hybrid eclipses. It starts out as a total and becomes a partial as it moves, which is unheard of. It starts in Aries and ends in Taurus, which is unheard of. So it's quite a bit of. Crystal says hi. Um,
Yes, I just texted back, commented back rather. Yes.
um, and so it is a major pulling apart of old structures in this Aries energy, very much about manifesting into not just the quote unquote normal 6 months, but all the way on to 2025. It is very much about these beginnings. And with this T square that is our Pluto in Aquarius, which is transformation of our vision of who we are, our revolutionary energy, to our North and South node, which is our soul's goals, what they know, what they're moving towards. And that's the world's nodal axis. It is shaking up all of our soul's desires. So if you don't happen to know what your North node is in, it's a good time to find out because that's partially what is being asked to step forward, and the energy that is important with the moon. That's about the people. That's about who we are, our private energy, and so it is being our level of comfort is being shaken, but it's to get rid of those, not to get off the track, to concentrate on the momentum we have started and to keep it going. And so what you were talking about last night was right in line with how do we keep that momentum going by our words and what we participate in.
Yes, exactly. Now, and with this energy that we are experiencing, there's going to be so many more of us that are going to become more aware and become more conscious of the idea of there's something more, And there's going to be a lot of us out there that, and I put me in this category as well, because yes, I too might be feeling a little uncomfortable in this energy that's showing up in reference to the changes that are happening, because we may not necessarily be aligned with what we thought our soul's purpose was. May not, it's not going to look the same. There's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to be experiencing this whole process of their jobs are changing, and
Hmm.
they may not quite understand or know, well, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing next? Because up until now, they might have been in the job industry, in their material job industry, and now they might be getting a sense of pull, a little like itch to want to dive into what their soul's calling actually is. So there might be a little bit of confusion going on over the next couple of months until they sort of settle down in whatever it might look like for them.
Well, and we're in this period of looking at the vision of what we're transforming, how we want it to transform, and then we're going to dip back into the structure, and again deconstructing to reconstruct, so we can support that vision, and that there is enough in the world to be shared. And um, scarcity mentality is something we are going to be working around through, in that there is enough, and what is enough becomes part of the understanding. So,
Yes, in fact, it's interesting you say that. This morning I had posted on Facebook something like, um, "You are enough to the right people. You are enough to the right people." So if you are connecting with the right tribe, your right tribe, you're going to show up as enough. And that's a really good indicator to know whether or not you are in your right tribe. And we're in this energy where, yes, people, places, and things may start to peel away because they're no longer in the same frequency and vibration of who you are becoming. So you may not feel like you're enough to somebody, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it just gives you an invitation and an opportunity to start shifting to align yourself with people who do think you're enough. And for some, it might be the opposite. You might be too much for some people. I mean, I've heard in the past that sometimes people feel that I'm too much. I'm like, really? Too much? Is there such a thing? But that's okay. If I'm too much for you, that's okay. You have a choice. You can hang out and be a part of my too much, or you can choose to walk away. It's your choice. No hard feelings here. you know. So yeah.
yeah, it's
So
it that's
wonderful energy.
that's that time when I'm really thinking. So when I'm curious as to when someone says, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, they're not my cup of tea. Um, and I'm curious as to how those things come about. It's a nicer point in time where my own self-worth isn't measured outside of me, it's measured inside of me. Now the next challenge in this activation is that internal critic that I've already um, nurtured in my lifetime. Curious as to why she is so harsh at times, uh, and her expectation. But this is all part of this journey that we're on, and it's such a fascinating time. So from this April 20th to May 20th is really a very big concentration on that, of learning about our humanness, learning about what it is to be a human being. And there will be people who do not embrace their humanness.
Yes, yes, yes. And as I always say, I always ask this question because I'm always curious, and I know there's always someone out there that might be wondering the same thing. I mean, I happen to know the answer, but I ask it anyway, and that is because Venus is in Gemini on someone's natal chart, personal natal chart. I would assume that they would want to look at their natal chart to see where Venus is for them on their personal chart, and of course, where Gemini is, what planet Gemini is for them. Does that hold true?
Sure, because those are two energies. So, we're all the same on the bottom. We're all affected on the rotating piece, and our layer is laid as the circuit in the middle that relays that information. So knowing where your relays are in Gemini and in Venus helps you understand maybe where the conversation takes place for you. So for example, for me, Gemini is sixth house. So that's that very Virgo, smaller nuances for me will be in communication, smaller, all of those. Declan's, um, in Gemini. And
his mom's in Gemini.
ah,
Yes.
And
oh, his moon. I'm sorry, his moon is in Gemini. I got mom out of that one. Sorry, Declan.
And my personal Venus is in the 12th house in Sagittarius. So it's always wanting to uncover the beauty of truths. So in my communication, it's always about the smaller pieces that are truth, that are able to be uncovered in conversations, only it's a lot lighter right now because of the placement up here. So that 12th house is uncovering information for me that helps me kind of look at all those smaller pieces to build what the truth is. So yeah, so knowing that allows me to go, oh, good. I'm going to probably not necessarily hear secrets, but uncover secrets, including myself, switching for myself. So
yes. And my Venus is in Pisces in the 9th house.
So your Venus, and where's Gemini?
Gemini. Interesting enough, in Gemini for me on my chart, I do not have any planets there, but it is in the interesting enough, it sort of flows between the 11th and 12th house. It's sort of like smack in the middle.
So you have some of the same kinds of things. Things are being uncovered in communities, in groups, in that energy. Something is being communicated when you're in groups and with that Venus, it's some kind of learning, a higher learning, and it happens to be the house of truth anyway, 9th. And so it's about flowing with these new truths in groups as you uncover them. And what is that?
That makes so much sense when I really think about it. I mean, especially now, for those who may not know, just a little personal information out there. Just yesterday, I went on a job interview, so obviously I'm spreading my wings a little bit, and possibly going to be connecting with a different community of people, which is a different group of people, and also connecting on Facebook with a lot of different groups as well. So that totally makes sense, perfectly aligned for me, and I love when I'm in alignment with our planets.
Yeah, and I'm uncovering smaller pieces, and that makes sense for some of the things we're starting to look at, some of the information for me making choices about living, where we're going to be living, all of those kinds of things. So it absolutely makes perfect sense. Wow, we've been just chatting away, and we've almost gone 40 minutes. We're only going 45, so.
Exactly. And what I do want to put out there before we go in our card readings, because that's how Kitty and I usually end this, but I do also want to make a mention that those of you who do have, as Declan does, sun, moon, or rising in Gemini energy, know that with Venus being in Gemini, that's also going to amplify your energy as well, because you actually have that in your one of your three major planets, if not maybe one or two of them. Because there could be some of you out there that might be what I like to call a triple threat or double threat, having the same sun, moon, or rising in Gemini. So pay attention to those conversations that you have with yourself. Pay attention to the conversations that you have with others. Pay attention. Pay attention to what your body's also talking to you about, because I say it all the time, I believe that our bodies do talk to us. Body shows up with different things, whether it shows up as stiffness or pain, or maybe there's an illness or a disease that might be flaring up at this point in time. It's just flaring up because it's trying to get you back into balance with something. So pay attention to it.
Well, and because Gemini is a mutable sign, it also, so for Declan, it's about where he's most comfortable, because it's his moon energy, how he privately processes. this time with Venus is about finishing up, letting go of maybe some things we thought we valued because it's mutable, and finishing up around them and being able to, tie and connect things that perhaps have been disconnected. All right, I got my 2.
Excellent. Excellent. And I don't know if Crystal Teal is still here, but I do believe she has something in Gemini as well. I don't know if it's her moon or her sun, but I do believe she's got one of the two, if she's still here with us. If Crystal, if you're still here, if you could put that in the comments just to confirm, I'm almost sure you have something in Gemini.
Now, my descendant's Gemini. So my relationship energy is Gemini, right just barely into that 7th house. So this is a time where I can kind of lightly have some conversations.
Her sun is in Gemini.
So she's a Gemini.
Yeah, she's a Gemini. Her son's a Gemini. Yes. I knew it. I was like, I feel like she's a Gemini as well. Yes.
So there's a value to the power that she has, because your sun is your power. It's your engine. And it'd be interesting to know what house it is, because that also, just like for Declan, what house his moon is in is where that conversation is taking place around. So
yes, I just want to ask you, did you just see the 2 cards that literally flew out of the deck? I mean, literally just flew
so
right
what did
out.
you, I'd be curious to know if they go with mine, because mine kind of flew too. Crystal
is a 4th house. Yes.
So first of all, she's a night chart. And so her Saturn placement and I think it's Mars, are also activated because her sun is being activated. And in the 4th house, of course, that's family. And that, remember, family can be our family of origin. That's how it starts, but it's also the family we choose to be in. And so that's an important part of this, just like my Aries energy is my 4th house. So that's lit up with the family of who I'm with. All right, so I'll give you my cards.
Yes.
This deck is different than, this is Esther and Jerry Hicks card.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So Abraham Hicks, my joy doesn't depend upon the approval of others. No guidance will ever be achieved by seeking the approval of others. Didn't we just talk about that?
I was just going to say, we were just talking about that. How coincidental.
Forth from within you, it's always there. So, my Gemini placement, because of my Venus, is uncovering in those relationships. So that's important. Yes, I love the vortex. And what also came out right with it was, I look for more reasons to appreciate. So rather than looking for my approval coming from outside, I can search with that energy instead. And I think that's partially what Declan was talking about. What are you doing with your energy for the reasons to be appreciate? The more I appreciate, the better I feel. And I'm able to use this energy to my advantage. The more I allow who I am to flow through me, the better I feel. So while it's coming through you, appreciating that you can hear it and talk with it.
Yes, I love that. And I do believe the cards that literally jumped out, I mean, 2 of them, are definitely aligned with what you just spoke about, but it's also aligned with the energies where, again, we have Pluto that's in Aquarius, and the moon is going to be entering Aquarius as well. And the moon right now is in Capricorn, so very much aligned with the numbers. So one card shows up in reverse, one card shows up in the upright position. The reverse card is all about self-love. That very much goes in the alignment of not being concerned on what other people think about you, the judgment, and just love on you. Like Kitty said earlier, it's really about loving on your own body. Yes, there might be things about your body that may not be as perfect as you want them to, but that doesn't mean you can't love on them anyway. So love on your body. Note that it is in reverse. So there is a little bit of resistance, which also means change your focus, because the root chakra is all about focus. What are you focused on? What are you focused on about your body? What are you focused on about other people? So change your focus. That 7-3 is that 10 energy, which is very much associated with Capricorn and the soul's work that you're here to do. So perhaps, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, that your your desire is to be in a healthier body. That's part of your soul's calling. Working on being a healthier working on being in a healthier body. And if you can redirect your focus, you'll start to attract people, places, and things to do that's going to help you be in more in alignment with your body as well. That 10 is also not a new way of doing things, but remember, it's reverse. So there might be a little bit of resistance. And then, as always, the biggest thing that we all need to do is remember to have faith that whatever it is that we are working on, whatever it is the collective energy is working on, is to have faith. And I actually had this conversation, I forget with who, if it was yesterday, today, or even both days, that 11 energy is reminding us that this is really about what we are doing together. We're not doing this alone anymore. We're a collaboration. This is about collaborating. That 11 energy is about what Pluto is going to help us to let go of that we've been doing alone and bring in your community, in the people you're supposed to collaborate with, in with the people that you're supposed to be in this higher vibration with. That 11 energy is associated with Aquarius, which we just spoke on. Let's talk about the chakra, which is the heart, the center of your heart, bringing things back into your heart, finding gratitude, finding appreciation, finding joy in whatever it is you're experiencing at this time. Because again, you can focus on what's going wrong, or you can focus on what's going right, and you always have a choice. So have faith that the minute you change your thought, you will change your outcome. Love that.
Very much so.
Love that. Well, here we are. I think we did total of 4 cards, and I think that's a great number to end off with. After all, there's 4, the foundation. So just want to thank everybody for being here who took some time out this afternoon to come play with Kitty and I, because that's what Kitty and I do. When we get together, you know right off the bat that we're here to play, but we also have to be serious and provide some insight, intuition, which is what we both do. It's that intuition and insight. And Kitty brings it to the table by bringing her story to astrology. She does. I've worked with plenty of astrologers out there, and I don't say this just because she's sitting right there, but she does make it very easy to understand astrology because of how she brings her story to astrology. So I'm so grateful that she finally owned that title as a storyteller of astrology, because I know she has struggled with that. She's been in a closet astrologer for how many years, Kitty?
Oh, let's see.
Too many.
30. 30?
Yeah. Exactly. So, Kitty, go ahead.
I was just saying, we are all on a new act of our play, all of us. And so having an idea of what your story is, because it's shifting. This is the plot shift, folks, of human life right now, of human beings' evolution. The plot shift has happened. And so what an amazing time that we're through the door, but now we're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, every one of us has received, if you're not aware of this just yet, every one of us has received a whole new script. Our play is a whole new script. So this is an opportunity for you to take on that new character, whatever that character is for you going forward, and start to act it out however you want to act it out. That's the fun about this.
Very, very much. How are you going to be a hero in your own journey? So,
exactly.
The story of who you are. So
exactly. Kitty's email is strolling on the bottom, and Kitty has some amazing things that she does on Facebook. She has paid events, and then she also has free, and she has one free. Yeah, she has one tonight. So Kitty, let them know, because I know that some people popped on a little later. Let them know about the one that you have going on tonight. They might be interested in coming to join us.
It's on Intuition of the Soul, a free private Facebook group. It's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's Transform with Teresa. I do a daily astrological read. It's 90 seconds long, talks about what the energy of the day is, the story of the energy of the day on both Facebook and on TikTok. My name, Kitty Foss, on TikTok. Just because this is an interesting time and reaching lots of new people. A lot of people are very interested in understanding what is this energy? What today could I look at? You know, before we go to bed at night, I was just listening to Jeanette Byro. Big shout out to her. She's a psychic medium out of Canada. And she was just saying, optimize those times, which is, by the way, what the course is called, optimize those times before you go to bed and when you get up in the morning to kind of ask for that guidance. Can we tag the group here? Sure, I think we can. If not, just intuition of the soul.
Yeah, I just typed it in. I don't know what she means by tagging. What does it mean by tagging?
Well, you can copy and share the
link.
The link, yeah.
All right, I'm gonna do that right now. Keep talking. Oh wait, I don't know how to do that. Wait a second. Oh, snappers. 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna figure it out. Keep talking.
Yes. Okay. So you're looking at 2 digital immigrants. I'm going to give a little, this is something years ago. So when you are a native, as a younger person, you know how to navigate. But what an immigrant is, being 62 years old, we didn't have computers. And so what a digital immigrant learns what they need to learn. And then when they need to learn something new, that they are able to share it. But it's a very narrow, it's not a natural expression of going through. And so she's experiencing her, I know how to do certain things. Can I navigate this? So yes, digital immigrant versus digital native. It does help, especially explain to people why you can hand a 3-year-old a phone and they go click, 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 click. Meanwhile, I'm watching my mother-in-law, her 80s, go, just that's the difference. It's just like in our DNA, it's coming through in their DNA. This, and by the way, very interesting technological time, guys, out there. It is the solar return that we all have twice in our life, which is a big reorganizing, but it is the solar return of the internet. The internet is 29 years old this year. And so it is going through a restructure. And we know between the AI ability and things that are coming that there is some really big shifts. And part of those shifts are exactly what Joanne's been talking about, is that our physical body is becoming a new technology. Our physical body has changed. Hearts have moved, kidneys have moved, things have changed. And there are things awakening in us that have been dormant that are coming online. So.
Yeah. And I just want to make a note that I completely failed. By the way, people, I completely failed on trying to figure out how to tag the damn site onto this right now. So I will come back once this is no longer live and tag it onto the damn group because I can't figure it out. It just keeps every time I hit the copy thing, it just keeps copying the YouTube.
If you search Intuition of the Soul on Facebook, there's a public group, which is mine too, and it has a private group button that you can join. And it's free, and there's a lot of stuff. I can help you, Crystal says.
Yeah. And Crystal, what I'll do is I'll personally just send you an invite to the actual group. So no worries. Yeah. It may seem like I know a lot, but there are some things I'm just not really that great at, and I'm still learning. So
she's very happy. I taught her how to do that picture that's in the back there. Because she didn't like just the black background. So,
and to be told, I mean, I just recently through the Zoom groups that I sit in reference to like doing messages, like sharing in the chat. I just literally this Tuesday night in Joe's group, I just finally figured out how that if I wanted to chat with somebody privately, I figured out there's a little arrow there that I can click on. It shows all the names in the group and I can click on that name. I'm like, oh wow, I learned something new tonight. So yeah, baby steps, people.
You're a digital immigrant. That's all. You learn what you learn when it's time to learn it.
Exactly.
And on that note,
bye folks. Until next time, thank you so much.
We'll be on next week definitely for the solar.
Yes. We will be sharing. Yes, we will, because that's what Kitty and I do. But bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.